Hi guys, David here for the BartenderHQ.com podcast, and you may notice I'm in a little bit of a different venue this week. I'm shooting this before I start work at the Magic Shop, so please do let me off any sound issues if it sounds a little bit different this week, anything like that. I'm travelling around a little bit this week. I should be back home for the weekend to get this up and live. But yeah, I didn't want to let you guys down and miss out on a podcast, so here it is. Now, on this week's show, I've been lucky enough to have a play around with some molecular mixology stuff. Now, you might have seen the video that I did, the unboxing video. If you haven't already checked it out, I do recommend you pop over to our YouTube channel and have a quick look at that. I'll pop a little clip up here somewhere. But basically, I got hold of the Molecular Mixology kit. Now, this is from Lakelands in the UK. They're available all over the world, and basically what you're going to get inside is a package of five different substances that you can use to make cool molecular mixology drinks. You're going to get the tools that you need, so you're going to get your little measurement spoons, you're going to get your slotted spoon for any spherification stuff that you're doing, for stirring stuff. You also get in there some pipettes for if you're doing any regular spherification, caviars, that kind of thing. And this week I had a play around with it for the first time, and we made some molecular mojito balls. Now this was using a frozen reverse spherification method. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is. It's essentially, if you've ever done any molecular stuff before, I mean, you'll know I've mentioned in the past that while I was out in Dubai, actually we did a bit of molecular mixology stuff. The majority of what we were doing over there, however, was foams. So we were using xanthan gum and methyl cellulose to stabilise and thicken some foams, which we then put into ISI cream whippers, charged them up with nitrous oxide, and we made two different foams that we had behind the bar at all times at 101 The Palm. Now, those were a molecular mojito foam, so we were doing lime juice, sugar syrup, blended mint, which we then strained all of it out and added the texturers and chucked that straight into the cream whipper, charged it up, and you just spray that on top of a nice aged rum. So I think we were using Bacardi 8-year-old and a fresh pressed apple juice. That was basically sitting on top of there. That was our signature 101 mojito. And we were also making a peach and verbena tea foam, which we sat on top of the champagne to make our molecular 101 Bellinis. With the reverse spherification for these mojito balls, I'll pop the video on the screen as well. But essentially, you make up a mojito mix, you freeze it into an ice cube tray, and then drop those into a bath, and that basically adds a skin to it as it defrosts, and then you've got a ball of mojito with a mint leaf right in the centre there. Absolutely beautiful, really, really tasty, and it bursts in your mouth as you bite into it, and you get this kind of mojito delivery system. Really cool, really enjoyed using it. It's pretty simple, and we'll go over to the full video now. I shot a little bit of video while I was doing it, and I'll talk you through the process. Fresh lime juice, pop that straight into the mixing glass. Now, the recipe actually calls for using fresh limes and muddling them straight as you would expect into the mixing glass. What I've done just for speed is to use fresh squeezed lime juice already, and the same with the sugar. Instead of using, as the recipe calls for, using granular sugar, I've used sugar syrup to get it to the same sweetness. Then using the little spoons that you get included, we need 1/4 teaspoon of calcium lactate. Now, these come in 5-gram sachets, which is the size that you need for the majority of the recipes that are here. But with this particular recipe, it only calls for 1/4 teaspoon, because this is actually going directly into the drink. That's going to be an actual part of the drink that people are drinking, and this is going to interact then once we drop it into the bath. That's going to basically form the skin on these, so we need to add some fresh mint leaves. Now, this is Moroccan mint that I'm using, which is picked from the garden. I grow my own mint at home, specifically for this sort of thing. It's nice and easy to grow, actually, as long as you keep it watered. It's pretty simple, but keep it in a separate pot, because it does tend to go everywhere if not. So then we're adding in just the soda water. This is obviously to bulk the recipe out, and the rum. That's obviously after we've done the muddling with the mint leaves to get the flavour out of there. So we've got 1 ounce of rum and 2 ounces of soda water going in there. Give that a good stir, and then we need to strain it out. Now they say to use a coffee filter. The only coffee filters I have are for the AeroPress, so I'm actually using my AeroPress coffee maker. If you've not seen these, check out my review of the AeroPress. It's awesome for making really good coffee. So I'm using that with the coffee filters in the bottom there. Use the plunger to push everything through, and as you can see, we have a lovely green liquid, nice and clear. So it's a little bit cloudy because of the lime juice, obviously, but no bits of mint or anything like that in there. So pour that into a jug, and that needs to go then through our ice cube tray. We need to pop a little mint leaf in each first. So you've got a mint leaf which is right in the middle of each of these balls. And the idea of putting it into the ice cube tray is because to put these, it's not like doing normal spherification, where you'd be using a pipette to drop into the bath, which would have this calcium lactate in it. What we're doing is doing it the other way around, so the calcium lactate is in these mojito ice cubes we're making. So we need to freeze them so that we can drop them into the sodium alginate bath. So we leave those overnight to freeze down. Obviously, they won't go completely solid because of the rum in there. The sodium alginate, we need to mix in 1 full sachet. That's going into a blender with 2 cups of water, 450 ml of water. Give that a good blend up, and then we need to leave that to sit for about 15 minutes once it's fully blended and dissolved, just so that we get all the bubbles out. So then we'll take our mojito ice cubes. We'll take about 4 at a time into this pot that we've got here with the sodium alginate. Drop those straight in, and these take about 3 minutes to form the skin nicely. You don't want these to touch while they're skinning, because you don't want them to stick together, and that could basically break the skin, and then you basically lose your little mojito out into the bath. So leave them there for about 3 minutes. I set a little timer on my iPhone just to make this easier. So I knew exactly that I was doing it to the recipe for this first time, at least. So once that's done, we fish them out using the little slotted spoon that we get. If you don't have one of these, you could quite easily use like a julep strainer. Would work really well for this, and especially if you're pulling more than one out at a time. And then we just drop them straight into a fresh water bath. And that's just to actually rinse the sodium alginate off the outside of these. Give them a little rinse, and then we just popped them into a couple of little glass bowls. And as soon as those ones were out, we put the last 4 of the cubes into the bath. Now I gave these to my girlfriend, to Jo, and she liked the flavour. She was not keen on having the mint leaf in the middle there, as much as it looks really, really cool, and it does look really funky having the mint leaf inside this little ball of mojito. She wasn't so keen on the texture of obviously just having this whole leaf in her mouth, which is fair enough. But yeah, they look really cool. They've got a really, really strong, fresh mojito minty flavour as they pop in your mouth, and yeah, really not bad at all for my first effort, to be honest. So as you can see, these molecular mojitos are great fun to make. They'll really cause a stir if you want to do them for a private party, if you've got friends coming over, anything like that. If you've got a big event coming up at your bar, these are really cool because you can kind of pre-prep them, as you can see. If you get up to the stage where you're freezing the balls, you can basically keep those in the freezer as long as you want, and then your only step after that is dropping them into the bath and forming that layer on the outside. So you can actually prepare these well in advance, and then in about 3 to 5 minutes you can actually have your balls ready to go. So they're great for, say, drinks receptions. If you've got VIP guests coming, you could do you could almost do a 5 cocktail tasting menu and have like cocktail tapas perhaps. There's a lot that you can be doing with this molecular stuff, and it's really exciting, some really cool stuff to play with. I'm going to do some more videos on the molecular stuff, so we're going to get into the regular spherification. So we're basically going to flip the two texturers over, and you're basically going to just drop this stuff in. I think the suggested menu, the suggested recipe that comes with the package is for a molecular gin and tonic, also using some blue curacao. I think that's mainly just to add some colour, to make it look really outstanding. And then there's a really cool kind of thickened foam for Bloody Mary recipe. So that's going to be quite interesting as well. Play around with some different flavours and that sort of thing. Some savoury cocktails. Savoury cocktails really getting quite popular at the moment. So that's something else that I want to have a play around with and see what we can do. Sea salt is very, very popular in the Bacardi Legacy cocktails, for example, this year. And I'd like to play around with a bit of crushed black pepper and that sort of thing as well. Just change it up a bit and see where we go, see where we end up. That's the cool thing about cocktails. You can kind of play around with it and you can come out with some really cool stuff. So that's about it for this week's BartenderHQ.com podcast. Another short one, but I like to keep these short and sweet. There's no point in making them longer than they need to be. In the meantime, if you have any problems remembering your cocktail recipes, please do check out my ebook. It is Memorizing Cocktails the Easy Way. It's basically everything that I've learned about how to learn cocktails distilled down into an ebook. I'm not including loads of stories in it. I'm not including loads of fluff. I basically wanted to get straight to the point and explain to you guys the quickest ways that you can get those cocktails into your head and keep them there and be able to recall them really, really quickly. So check that out. That is Memorizing Cocktails the Easy Way. If you go to bartenderhq.com/ebook, you will find it. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook. It's Bartender HQ on Facebook. Also, check out the worldwide bartender community. Just search for it on Facebook. It's a closed group, but we will add you as quickly as we can. It's normally within an hour or so unless you sleep. Find us on Twitter. The Twitter community is growing so fast. I'm on about 850 followers at the moment. I would think it's going to hit 900 by the end of this week. And we're going to chase up to the 1,000 mark and help us out. Share the Bartender HQ podcast with your friends. Share us on iTunes. Leave us a review. 5 stars is the most that you can give us, and I'd love it if you gave us 5-star review. So, for this week's BartenderHQ.com podcast, that's it. My name's David Eden-Sangwell, and I will see you again next week.
Thanks for listening to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ.
Which spherificates? That's probably not a word.